Today I'm going to tell you about the sketchiest real estate deal, which involves exchanging the deposit at the parking lot, seller's name changes, and a big surprise before closing. Alright, it goes back to 2016. My friends and clients were new to Canada. They were first-time home buyers, a cute little family. They just came to Toronto from Italy, and they were living at the west side of downtown Toronto. We were in the market looking for properties. They were mainly looking for properties near the water, near Lake Ontario, and we finally found them a gorgeous property with an unobstructed view of the Lake Ontario. So once we found this property, we decided to put an offer on it. And in order to put an offer on a property, I always do my due diligence and go through a bunch of steps. One of the things that I do, which I suggest other real estate agents to do as well, is I don't rely on the name that's printed on the listing. I always go and check the records with the city, with Geo Warehouse, MPAC, to see if the name of the seller, legal description, everything is in order and everything checks out before submitting in the offer. So that day I went and looked up the names and legal description and everything else. So the first thing that popped up was the name of the seller. The name of the seller on the property, or basically on the listing, was different from the name of the seller or the name of the owner of the property under Geo Warehouse, which Geo Warehouse is literally the land registry system that we pull the data or information regarding the property, the owner's name, the history, legal description, everything else. So that was the first red flag. And in order to clarify that, I called the listing agent and said, hey, I'm not gonna name the listing agent because she has been in the business for over 20 years and she has a company. She's basically a mortgage broker and a real estate broker, and she has her own company and she does a lot of business, kinda a lot of business. So anyways, I talked to the agent. First of all, it was my first interaction with that real estate agent / real estate broker, which had a single man company. We're gonna call it XYZ Realty. And on another video, I'm gonna explain to you that how is it possible for a real estate agent to have her or his real estate company without being affiliated to any other companies. So anyways, long story short, I called the agent and said, hey, what's the deal with this? Name of the owners on the Geo Warehouse and land registry system are two different names, male and female, and then the name of the seller on your listing agreement, on your listing basically details, is different person. I said, oh, this is a POA, and this is their son who has the POA, which is power of attorney, to sell the condo on their behalf. I said, okay, so what happened to other sellers? He said, oh, one of them is passed away, the husband, and the wife is in retirement home right now, but the son has a power of attorney. So I said, okay, send me the copy of power of attorney, then I'm gonna draft the offer, which literally they are not legally obliged to send you the power of attorney. But anyways, I wanted to go extra mile and make sure I check all the boxes. So I asked her for the power of attorney. Anyways, so she sent me a power of attorney from some lawyer out in somewhere in North Ontario. It's not super north for us Torontonian, it's considered north, but somewhere closer to Huntsville near Muskoka. So I started drafting the offer based on that power of attorney and put the son's name over there, which again, the last name was not exactly the last name of both parents, which I said, okay, maybe they changed something or whatever. So I did the offer, we sent the offer, we were in back and forth, and we did, I think, 3 back and forths till we agreed on the price. So once we agreed on the price, they sent me, the listing agent sent me the accepted agreement, and then my client said, okay, I'm gonna drop the deposit. And I told my client, hey, this is the address for this company, real estate brokerages. It was somewhere in Toronto Star building on Yonge Street, Yonge and Queensquay. My client goes there with the bank draft. The bank draft was around $30,000 bank draft, and consider that this was 2016. In 2016, the prices in Toronto were much lower. So for a $600,000 property, a condo with a lake view, unobstructed lake view, gorgeous location, the $30,000 bank draft would have been 5% of the purchase price and was a good deposit. So my client takes the bank draft, goes there to Toronto Star building, and the upper floor is kind of similar to, basically, it used to be, I don't know if they're still operating like that over there or not, that I don't know. I haven't been there for a long time. And the upper floor, it's like a shared office space, like a call center, and that there are a bunch of people sitting there answering phone calls, and it's a shared office space. And my client goes there and said, hey, I have a bank draft for such and such brokerage. The front desk tells them, okay, drop it here. I said, okay, so I don't see a sign, no receipt, no official receipt from the brokerage. Basically, it's not going to be like you're looking for official receipt from brokerage, the name of the brokerage and stuff like that, date, time, whatever. So my client basically gets upset, and the lack of office signage sketches my client out. So she backs out and said, hey, I'm not comfortable to drop my deposit here. I'm considered like first-time home buyers, new to country. My client calls me and said, hey, don't worry, I will be there with you and I will monitor the whole process, don't worry about it. And I drive there, I see my clients outside, and so my clients tells me that, hey, we are not comfortable with this condo because the name was different, and then they told us a POA, and then now we go drop the deposit. This is a shared office space, this brokerage is a small brokerage. I explained to them, hey, don't worry about it, brokerages are regulated in Ontario, we have basically RICO insurance, deposits based on RICO are insured up to $100,000, blah blah blah. So, but my client, they say, hey, we don't feel comfortable. We don't want to proceed with this deal. Oh my God. So then later on, we were talking with the client. My client told me, hey, give us a couple hours. We are going to think about it and we're going to get back to you of the next steps. I told them, hey, these are the next steps that you should take. And if you want to sign a mutual release, these are the next steps. And first of all, back in 2016, the deal was conditional. So we had two conditions in the deal. I told them, hey, the deal is conditional and we are going to control a bunch of other steps through your lawyer. We're going to do the title search. We're going to check the status certificate to make sure everything is in order. They told me, okay, we are going to let you know in a couple hours. They got back to me in a couple hours that, hey, now we want to proceed with the deal. We feel comfortable right now. Again, because they were first-time home buyers and they were new to country, it was a big decision for them. So anyways, long story short, they said, hey, we want to proceed with the deal. So I told them, hey, so you have to drop the deposit tonight. I called the agent and said, we are going to drop the deposit. And she tells me that, hey, that office space, that shared office space that gets the deposit on my behalf is closed now. So you have to deliver the deposit to us in person directly. And I asked her, okay, so what's the address? She said, no address. Meet my husband at the parking lot and give the deposit to my husband. And I told my client, that sketched out my client again. The husband told me, hey, I don't want to meet a stranger guy in a parking lot in the middle of the night to hand over $30,000 deposit, basically $30,000 deposit to him for this house that has such and such things with the POA names and the real estate office which had no signage or nothing. I told my client, hey, don't worry, we are gonna give you bodyguards. And he said, hey, all right, we are gonna meet the guy, meet the listing agent's husband in the parking lot at 10 p.m. to hand over the deposit. So basically that's what we did. We met the guy, the listing agent's husband, and gave the deposit to him. And I called the listing agent to send me an email confirming the deposit. So that was the sketch part about the deposit. Imagine doing business in real estate and you deliver the deposit in the middle of the night in a sketchy parking lot to somebody that you never seen and you don't know. So that was this part about the deposit. Now fast forward, we sent the documents to the lawyer. Still the deal was conditional. I sent the documents to the lawyer, a status certificate, and I asked the lawyer, hey, this is the situation, this is the POA. And I asked the lawyer, hey, check this POA, call this basically their lawyer to make sure that this POA is legit. And then I asked the lawyer to run the title search, because for the title search we have some time till, let's say for example, legally between 30 days to up to 1 week before closing, you have time to run the title search. But I told the lawyer, hey, let's do the title search right now during the conditional period and check all the documents. The lawyer was so cooperative with me and ran all the checks and everything turned out to be legit. And so far everything went smooth until it was 5 days before closing. I called the listing agent and said, hey, I want to book a buyer's visit. We want to go there and take a look at property to make sure everything's in order for my clients to move in, which the listing agent told me, oh, I wanted to tell you something. I'm not gonna explain some of the details, but she told me that something has happened in the building. I said, wow. So we needed one more challenge before closing. The listing agent comes back to me and said, hey, the unit upstairs on the floor above them flooded, and that flood got into this unit and another unit down. So basically they had to repaint the unit and change the flooring. I called my client and said, hey, this is the situation, and my client panicked right away. I told him, hey, don't worry, because we are going to use that situation to your benefit. He said, how? I said, okay, now because the insurance is paying that, basically the current owner, which was the seller's insurance, is going to pay that cost of changing the flooring and painting. I told my client, hey, now I'm gonna talk to a listing agent and make a deal with them that you should be able to pick the colors for the flooring and for wall paint. So then my client agreed. We went there, we picked the flooring, the contractor was there, the contractor from insurance company, he was there, and the contractor gave us some samples, and my client happily picked the color that they wanted for the flooring and the color that we wanted for the walls. So basically my clients moved to a place with brand new flooring and fresh paint of their choice. So this sketchy deal that looked very sketchy at the beginning, with the names and giving the deposit in the middle of the night in the parking lot to some stranger guy, and the flooding 1 week 5 days before the closing, and the property was a good deal for them, because even back at the time we negotiated a really good price for a property with an unobstructed view of the lake and fresh paint and brand new flooring. So at the end of the day, the deal that looked very sketchy at the beginning turned out to be a good deal for my friends and clients, and they're still living there happily and they're enjoying the area and the building. So hope you enjoyed today's video. If you learned something, if this video brought any value to you, please share it with your friends, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Have a wonderful day. Bye.